โอเคยังชัด
ครับขอบคุณครับอาจารย์ครับ Good morning everybody especially those followers in Seattle and also in Vancouver Canada and good evening folks in Thailand especially in South and North and welcome to the Dhamma program of what Dhamma Rama and what Putta Panya Nantaram, Vancouver, Canada. So just today is the day after the Maka Busha Day and one of the most important day in Buddhism. And I wish everybody went to the temple doing some Buddhist activities. For example, the walking candles or whatever they have the activities in the Buddhist temple, especially in the Theravada tradition. The topic today, I would like to introduce one of very interesting topic in Buddhism, which is in order to be free from the suffering and also be free from the cycle of birth or cycle of life, and that is called fetters. You might call fetters or shackles or maybe chain or bonds, whatever English word you prefer. But for me, I rather prefer the word fetters. In Buddhism, when we talk of the fetters, we refer to the mental fetters or the chain. Or in Pali, we call it Sangyojana. It's Sanskrit. These fetters is shackles the all sentient being and spin them into the samsara, the cycle of birth, cycle of life. And that shackles life into the cycle with the dukkha or the suffering. And the Buddha mentioned that by cutting through all these fetters, one can attain to the nibbana, to be free from all sufferings. If we like to scan into the detail of the fetters of the suffering through the Pali canons, the word fetter is used to explain the mental phenomena or the intrapsychic, whatever they call it, that tie up one to the suffering. For example, in Kuttaka Nikaya, in Itivuttaka, the Buddha said that monks, I don't envision even one of the fetters by which being conjoined go wandering and transmigrating on for long time like a fetter of craving. So in this statement, the Buddha mentioned focus on the fetter of the craving. Fetters with the fetter of the craving being conjoined and go wandering, transmigrating on for a long time. but not only that, that was the statement that he made to two of his great disciples. So the Venerable Gotita asks, how is it the friend Sariputta is the ear, the fetter of the sounds, or the sounds of the fetters of the ear? Then Sariputta replied, friend Gotita, the ear is not the fetters. The ear is not the fetters of the sounds. The sound, the fetter of the ear, but rather the desire, that lust, that arise, there is a dependence on both. That is a fetter. Yeah. So let me explain this statement of the conversation between the Sariputta and the Gotita. The ayatana, or the organs, is actually not the problem, but the mind that lust, that wants, that desire. For example, the sound, the taste, the smell. That is a problem. So the relation between the ear and the sound, those who are not training, those who are not learning how to cut the relationship between the eyes, for example, the ear and the sounds, that creating the problem. And that is an example of what we call fetters. So then we can proceed to see what is the list of the fetters that bonding our life and keep spinning us. The life has been spun into the samsara, or the cycle of birth, death. So what I have listed today is I refer to the Pali canons, the sutta, the Tripitaka, identified 10 fetters of becomings. The first one is the belief in self, or we call it Sakaya Titi in Pali. The belief in self, what does it mean? It means we still keep thinking that we are self. We attach to the physical body. And we thought that this is my body. When you believe that you are really having a body, you try to maintain, you try to look for something that can furnish your physical body. So you're strongly clinging in whatever you have that has been performed by your body, because you initially, at the first place, you're thinking, you believing you are a self. That's sometimes considered as the root of the problem, the root of the root of the suffering. And these kinds of belief very strongly felt by the human being as compared to the animal beings. I mean, any other animals. So this is what we call the belief in self or Sakaya Titi. A really strong sense of attachment in self. That's how it's become our first fetters or shackles. The second one is a doubt or the uncertainty, especially about the Buddha's awakeness, supermundane consciousness. We doubt about the karma or the karma. We hesitate, You're not believing in the karma, the action that you do something good, you will receive something good. Cause and effect. Or as a whole, we refer to when you are not trusting in the three gems, the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. The enlightenment of the Buddha, if you still doubt of the qualities of the Buddha, the greatest or highest quality of the Buddha, of the Dhamma, of the Sangha, then this is called doubt. Or we call it Vikikicha. So the Vikikicha is a mental phenomenon that keep you in the situation of the hesitate. The hesitation. And because of the Vikikicha or doubt, it not only keep you spinning in the samsara, it delay your path. It never shorten your distance, or it extend your distance. And then when your distance or your path is expand or extend, the more you extend your path, the more you are suffering in the samsara. Then the third one is attachment to the rite, the ritual. For example, when you upholding your sila or the precept, at least the 5 precepts, when you want to just show off that you are upholding the 5 precepts, you're not trying to upgrade yourself from the sila. You're not trying to make your 5 precepts become a foundation in order to develop yourself into the samadhi concentration, or even to the highest value of the Buddhism quality, that is a panya. Or when you do something called punya, and you disrupt yourself, or you torture yourself the teaching of the Buddha is really right in the middle, what we call it Majjhima Patipata. So when you think or when you speak or even when you're doing something, we have to think about the optimal quality of each and everything that you do in order to not hurting yourself or not hurting anyone else. Then the fourth one is sensual desire, or we call it kama shanta. That was the example that I mentioned earlier. It's about the kama shanta or sensual desire. We still doing a job. We still working. The way in order to make the kama shanta that we still as a human being, especially ubasaka that can perform, we have to learn or train how to optimize to make it content, not too much or not too less. And we rather to educate, acknowledge the things rather than consuming the thing. This is how we deal with the kama shanta. And next one, the ill will or the payabata, the anger, aversion. There's one, there's in what sutra, the Buddha mentioned that when you go to somebody's house, when you visit your friend at his house, if your friends offer you a and you don't receive that meal, the Buddha asks, who is belonging to that meal? The Buddha said, that man say, the food still belonging to the householder or the owner of the house or the friend that you visit him. Same thing with the anger. When somebody make you angry, that anger is not actually you or yours. So you don't need to take that as an anger. And you don't need to keep that in you or in your mind. You can let go of that anger or that sound, the sound of the anger, the hate speech of someone that's trying to drag you. So you don't want to let that anger drag you all day, all night. You better let go and that's how you free from the anger or the suffering. And then the sixth one is the lust for the material existence, the lust for the material rebirth, or we call it rupa raka in Pali. We always like something that's really nice, we are looking for, or if we don't have something really nice, then we make it nice. And the material world today is really keep offer you everything more nice, nicer and nicer. And that's how we attach to, that's how we enjoy and let our life enjoy such a beautiful or nice things. That is called rupa raka. Sometimes we don't know ourselves that we have been enjoy. We have been what we call nanti in Pali. Not only that, number 7, the lust for the immaterial existence, lust for rebirth in the formless realm. You can see a lot of people go to the temple making a merit, doing something good for someone, offering food to the monks with an intention that they want something in return. And they allow themselves to attach to that action, making a merit, doing something good. So this kind of attachment in the fetters of immaterial, the happiness, the feeling, or not only the feeling, but also the ranking, the higher position, or even what we call bunya. Once we attach to all this immaterial existence, this become a fetters, become a burden, and that spin us back into the samsara. The next one, we go to what we call a conceit, or in Pali, mana. Mana is actually a sense of the bias, that you are not in the middle position, you are not neutral. You always have the comparative mind. You go compare. This is your, this is mine, this is higher, this is lower. I am better than you. I am worse than you, or you are worse than me. This kind of a sense of the comparative mind, when you have it, is some kind of decorating your mind or your life, or de-decorating your mind. You devalue yourself, you devalue somebody else. So this kind of intrapsychic phenomenal cause you spin in the samsara as a fetters, as shackles. The next one is a restlessness, or we call it uttaja. You always spinning your mind by thinking, by worrying, by caring. You never keep your mind calm. Imagine the more thinking, how much it makes your mind spinning here and there. Never stay in one place. Never focus in one thing. And that's how when you work on something, you never be happy with it. Because your mind never stay on one particular object. Your mind never be in peace. And the person who have this kind of quality of the mind never be calm. And it's very hard to practice the meditation. So one thing that that's how meditation benefit the person in terms of demolishing the restlessness or the uttaja. Then the last one is the ignorance, avijja. Because we are not knowing something thoroughly, we don't enlighten things. That's how life is in gray or dark. The Buddha mentioned that if you don't know the Four Noble Truths, the Buddha mentioned, the Buddha emphasized that, the Four Noble Truths. If you don't know, if you don't understand the Four Noble Truths, you don't know anything. And that's how your life has been returning, your life has been spinning in the cycle of birth and death, the samsara, the horrible cycle of birth and death. So the thing that we should learn, we should acknowledge, and it's very important, is the Four Noble Truths. The suffering. What is the suffering? What is the deep root cause of the suffering that we have to destroy? And what is the end of the suffering? How does it, how is the end of the suffering like? That we have to learn, we have to acknowledge. And then we have to create the tools, or we have to make a way, construct the way to end the suffering. Excuse me. So, as I indicated in the agents, the different 10 fetters This is appear in the in the Pali canon, of course. And the Buddha mentioned that the 5 fetters are referred to the lower fetters. And one has to eradicate upon the becoming for as a non-returners. That means from the stream enterer, once returner, and non-returner. I'm talking about the Sodaban, Sakinakami, and Anakami. The person that have to eradicate the first lower fetters, the 5 fetters. And the last 5 fetters are referred to a higher fetters that once can eradicate, become an arahant. So the fetters are actually relating to identify, to the identification of who you are from the 4 different persons, from the stream enterer, once returner, non-returner, and arahant. The Buddha also mentioned uniquely that in the sutta of the householder, for the household orders, that the fetter related to. And it's referred to the Buddhist 5 precepts that one can abandon, can leading to the cutting of affair. The first one is destroying life. The second one is stealing. The third one is a false speech. The fourth one is slandering. The fifth one is greed or converting. The sixth is aversion. The seventh is the anger or the malice. And the eighth one is conceit. So this is the burden actually of the life, or the burden of life, that one can train ourselves to cut the fetter. And in Buddhism, we offer the meditation in order to cut off or eradicate or eliminate to the process of the meditation, especially the vipassana, the insight meditation. And we don't need to be in rush. We spend our life and keep training, practicing by learning the Buddhism through the education, to the practice, when you perform the education, the Buddhism, the education of the Buddhism, you know the theory, you know the way, and then you start walking on the right way of the Majjhima Patipatha, and then you begin to train the meditation, to practice the meditation. That practice will allow you to see the truth. And because of seeing or attaining the truth, you can slowly get out from the cycle of birth and death. Because you will see the truth that birth and death are both suffering. Once you understand that what causes suffering, what end of suffering, and you cultivate the two to solve or to eliminate the cause of the suffering, you become free from the fetters. Your fetters is cut off. And that's how you free. You will get out of jail. And that's what all the people need, the freedom. By learning or education of the Buddhism that offer you many tools already, you understanding what life is, you understanding how life go on, you understanding how life end. That is what we call it, understanding a life. And that was the Buddha taught, that life is suffering because of the fetters. And under the natural process, well-trained natural process of the meditation, especially insight meditation, will allow you to see what is actually called suffering and what causes suffering. And you can realize the realization of the end of the suffering will appear under the process, under you doing the meditation, especially the insight meditation. Why you are doing the meditation? You are a makha. You are on the way of the end of the suffering. So this is how the insight meditation or the concentration meditation disclose the way to end the suffering, because the meditation itself is the way, or emakha, the way to end the suffering. So you actually realizing the Four Noble Truths. You're sitting with the Four Noble Truths during you're performing the meditation. So if we want to decrease the burdens of life. In Buddhism, we offer an education, especially the Buddhist, the education of the Buddhism and a practice of the Buddhism that is meditation. So I think today we have been clear up about what is the burden of life, what is the fetter of life today, and how we demolish or cut off the fetter of our life to reduce the burden to the process of learning and meditation. So I think that should be the end of my topic today. I would like to pass this back to Ajahn Thawatchai, if you still in the studio. อาจารย์ธวัชชัย are you still there in the studio? Okay. I think Ajahn Thawatchai is still busy. I just informed that he was really
ยอมชอบแล้วเด้
ครับ
ยอมจบแล้วเหรอ
จบแล้วครับอาจารย์ครับ
โอเคเข้าละญาติโยมเลย
ครับ Okay, so my topic today is completed, and I would like to wish you all happy, wealthy, and prosperity, and be safe from the pandemic of the coronavirus. And thank you for watching this program. And we will see you on next Saturday early morning. Thank you very much.
โอเคธรรมะ